topics. I mean, we've been talking a lot in the last couple of weeks about failure and rainbow intelligence, and now we're really diving into just kind of offering some of the readers and Substack some different material and different content. Our topic today is conventional healing versus alternative healing.
Yeah, I think that in the alternative world, one of the ways that alternative medicine works is that they don't necessarily give an exact diagnosis. Sometimes it can work, but I don't know about with Parkinson's. What I wanted to say from that is that one of the main things that I've really learned in conventional medicine is that there is an overarching tendency for people to give up their own power in conventional medicine, like give it up to the doctor. And I think this is one of the main things that I want to really get across and talk about with you is like when you go to a doctor, many people, my mom was like this. She'd go, I have a sore in my back. I have to go see the doctor. And then the doctor would take over and my mom would completely submit. She wouldn't offer much as far as like, well, when my daughter massages it, the pain goes away. So what does that mean? Or she would just completely submit, like, I guess I have to have all these tests now, and the doctor will see and find something wrong with me. And that's the way people approach it. And I think there's a different way of approaching conventional medicine where you don't have to give up your power.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I also think that having gone through sort of like the hoops over here in Europe of, we talk a lot about how conventional medicine is only if you can access it. So it's depending on if you even have access to conventional medicine. Half the world doesn't even have access. So you were in India. This whole chapter we read talks about India. You guys also didn't have healthcare, which is kind of how you explored some of the alternative medicine stuff. So first of all, if you even have access to this conventional medicine is like a big deal. But then the hoops that you have to go through. So like here in Europe, I have access, but it's like we're just dealing with a human system. So there's like how many people come through there each day. The doctor also has to be aware of like some similar different types of diagnoses. So like, things that might be shingles can also be lupus or like, there are so many things. And so it's just hard to ask exhaustive questions, and the public is not equipped, although it's getting better. I think Beth, for instance, is really good at this. And some people who go online and research things know the questions to ask. And I think it's important to ask questions. I think that's the biggest shift, is that the doctor is not always right. You can always ask questions. And I think in conventional medicine, it's really good, to get a second opinion, a third opinion. But it is funny because it's like a maze. I don't know, conventional medicine can be a maze. It can be like I just got prescribed antibiotics for something probably that I didn't need antibiotics for. So, it's interesting that doctors will do an operation sometimes when you don't need one.
Right.
You don't know if it's because of a profit they need to make or, numbers that the hospital has to get through, or if it's
if they made an error.
Or if it's an error, So
yeah.
I do
So what we're really saying here, like what I'm saying is I think that even though I think part of the issue, which what I'm seeing people give up their power, is because there's a reputation for conventional medicine and doctors. Like you go in to get fixed.
Yeah.
And I think that makes people feel like they don't have their own knowledge about their own self to be able to share that. That's not worthy of saying. And I think there's plenty of instances that we could point up where the patient actually knew what was going on with them more than the doctor.
For sure.
And so my whole thing is that right now, what I'd like to put forth to the conventional medical world is, can we just all collaborate?
Yeah.
Can we collaborate, and can we give doctors the respect that they have incredible knowledge about particular body systems or what they've studied, and give them that respect, but also can they give the patients the respect to ask the right questions and to really try to include them in the process?
Absolutely. I think also it includes some of the grandmother remedies that we were talking about before, right? Like alternative medicine can be a really good partner with conventional medicine. I think we're seeing that at the Mayo Clinic as well. And many other places in the world. Um, One of the funniest things I think to me is that, um, I guess alternative medicine really does challenge conventional medicine in the sense that, like, if it's a profit industry, which it is, and simple thing as apple cider vinegar or something can work and it's cheaper, it threatens the profit stream. So there's definitely some sort of like fighting going on, I think, with the fact that like if you could cure cancer with just doing breathing and oming,
Yeah.
I mean, that would really destroy the pharmaceutical companies, right? So there's like a little bit of like, we got that during COVID as well, the idea of like profit. And I think it's really, let us not forget the Surgeon General at one point in time said smoking was really healthy for you. So,
Right.
it's like just because these guys have a PhD doesn't mean that they're completely the end all and be all of knowledge. It's an evolving scientific method works. It's an evolving science, of course. And last thing I would say is I don't really understand why the doctor no longer comes to you in your house. I don't see why.
Oh.
I don't understand why sick people, why someone with Parkinson's who's shaking has to leave their house and the comfort of their home to go to a healthy person who's at a clinic. I mean, I can understand maybe there's tools and things they have that they can access, but I mean, the idea that the doctor no longer comes to your house, because actually you could identify so many things in the environment. If there was
Yep.
mold in the house, the doctor might be like, "Oh my gosh, we've been wasting all this money and time on all these tests, and I see there's black mold on your walls. Like, this is the issue, So, I mean, even having house visits, I think, could help the doctor enter the environment where the people are living, particularly with poverty. I mean, there's got to be all kinds of stuff like cleanliness and sanitation and
Yeah.
uh, all that. So, and in practices as well, seeing what the people eat, seeing how they behave, do they wash their hands? I mean, these are things that they don't get from a 20-minute visit at a doctor's office when you come into a sterile environment. So, you
Yeah.
know, um,
So we're all in awe of conventional medicine.
yeah, Michelle, give me 1 second. I
And
just
so,
keep going. Just I'm gonna
okay,
pause for 2 seconds.
wind up.
All right. So, Michelle, let's go ahead and continue this conversation.
I wanted to kind of, I think, put together what I'm hearing us talking about.
Yeah, of
And
course. Summary.
what I'm hearing us talking about, and kind of as a conclusion to this particular conversation, is that conventional medicine is amazing, and most people are in awe of a lot of the things that happen in conventional medicine. Is cutting into bodies, taking out things, putting things in, and drugs and what drugs can do, the power and all this. We're in awe of it. And in addition to that, there's a lot we can do as patients and as proponents of alternative medicine. There's a lot we can do that the doctors have to cooperate with, but we can do to make conventional medicine better. And some of those things that we've just talked about are encourage doctors to open up their minds and not be so profit oriented only. And we can also express that we have ideas about our own health as well, and not go to doctors who won't listen to us and not support them.
And I think one of the cool things, Michelle, not to cut you off, is that we mentioned prayer, right? So prayer has actually been studied, and I think that's incredible that having people support you. Also, emotional and mental health is becoming a really big issue within the stress, for instance. Losing my hair, during this time that I was really sick. I didn't know. I mean, one of the cases the doctor said it could just be really you'd be really stressed out, So being emotionally unsound or mentally unsound can also affect your health in ways the doctors are finally acknowledging, right? Like, maybe
So there's ways what we can do who are not conventional medicine doctors, but are possibly patients of doctors in conventional medicine. We can inform them. We can speak up. We have a voice, and we can, like I said, we can boycott doctors who are not open to our being involved and collaborating with us. But we can also just, we've talked to Andy's neurologist so many times about how different alternative things help us, how the yoga and the meditation and the exercise and our diet and all these things that aren't her domain. Her domain is the brain. And, so I think that's what I'd like to leave with, is just the idea of we are empowered, and we can help conventional medicine to become better.
Indeed. And I also think, let's not forget that doctors also, they make mistakes. They also have been, there's a lot of quack doctors out there too, who, don't know what they're doing. So just as much as this experience we just shared with in chapter 8 that you just read about exploring Ayurvedic and going to India and how it can be not comfortable and also kind of radical in some ways. So is going to the wrong doctor. The wrong doctor can also, prescribe you the wrong things and misdiagnose you. So I do think merging them together is a really good thing, finding a common ground in what they share. So like we can hopefully find
finding ways that we as the patients can have an effect.
Yeah. And that's
our next topic.
And Michelle, that would be amazing. And don't forget that not everyone has done their research like we have. I mean, not everyone is totally understands heart coherence or like magnetism in fields. And, all these things that we know about yoga and breathing, the layperson, I can understand that conventional medicine is easy because it's like, you're busy working.
You show up and you don't really have to take responsibility.
Who doesn't want to take a pill and just have it go away, right? I mean, I don't want to have to breathe for 8 hours a day to have my disease go away. I'd rather just take a pill. So it is a little bit approach, the easiest approach, which is to go to the doctor. And I can see why conventional medicine is alluring to people for that. But, and the fact that, come on, our life expectancy has been extended by conventional medicine, really. So if we can somehow pair that with alternative medicine to help calm the mind, address the emotional issues, understand where our brain is as well, it could just be a good balm to the soul, I suppose, and sort of like a augmentation of actually conventional medicine. So you're advocating for patients' power, which I love, which is really important. And also raising the awareness, which is what the book does, and what you're doing is helping raise the awareness of the patients so they can get to that level with the doctors so they can advocate for themselves and their families, which is really important too. Because